Alright, so we're gonna take a look at GeonKick. I have a few presets in the description you can download and play around with, together with a sample that is for the top kick or the click sound of the kick. If you don't know what it is, I will go through that later on in the video. But yeah, you can download the stuff and play around with it. So yeah, what is GeonKick? Well, it's a kick synthesizer that it's free to download. It's open source, so you can check the code if you're one of those guys that likes to check what the program is actually doing. But there are installers for Windows and one for Linux. And it doesn't have Mac support, unfortunately. I guess you have to compile it yourself from the source code. Well, anyways, once you have it installed, we can finally play around. I'm gonna play around with the preset that I made myself here. It's gonna sound like this. And as you can see, I have two waveform oscilloscopes, so we can take a look at what's happening, and one frequency, four frequency here, that so we can see how the shape of the kick is. So how does a kick look like? Well, you have two parts. You have the sub part and the click sound of the kick. Together, they make the whole kick. Let's focus on the sub part of the kick first. So it's this part again. It's basically just one oscillator that pitches down very fast from 1 kilohertz, maybe 5, down to the sub area within 50 to 80 milliseconds. You can see in the oscilloscope that it starts off very strong and then it goes down. The sub area for a kick is between 59 Hz to 32 Hz, and you can see here how it pitches down here. This is the curve, so we're gonna play around with this. So yeah, you can see that. So yeah, that's how you can play around with the kick. There are a few things that you should think about when making the sub kick. The first one is the key, where it pitches down. People say online that you shouldn't key the kick, but I tend to disagree. I think it sounds good. I made a little bassline loop here, and this one. And if we play with the kick, keep in mind I am sidechaining this a lot. And it's and the key of that little loop there is D sharp. So I set the tone of the kick to D sharp here. So you can see here that it pitches down to D sharp here. So that's the key I am putting the kick in. So when the kick ends, it will smoothly go to the bass line. And it just sounds perfect. It just coherently goes together well, I think, when you do that. If we have a longer kick, we have this little bounciness. You see here, for many cases, if you have a short kick, you don't have to think about it. You can just go down to the root to the root note or whatever, like this. No problem. But if you have a long kick, it just becomes a sinus wave, and it doesn't sound that good on bigger systems. As you can see, it sounds a little bit boring. It doesn't have characteristic to it, so you can add like a few hertz bounciness, like it goes up again and then down again, like this. Accelerating there a little bit so you can visually hear it. So yeah, so we're just gonna lower it a little bit again, but yeah, it's this bounciness for longer kicks you have to think about. That's why the shape goes down to the note and then up again, so it bounces a little bit, and then it ends again on the note that your bass line is playing at. When it comes to kick length, you don't want the kick to be longer than the beat itself. So if we have kicks like hitting 4 on the floor here, they're gonna start leaking each other and you will get phase issues, or the amplitude of the kick track is gonna be out of control. So you want to make sure it's not longer than a beat here. Now, when it comes to the length, you have to be careful here, because if the kick, let's say it stops here between 3/4 length of a beat, you have to think about the shape of the kick, and that's why we click on the amplitude button here. I'm gonna mute the top kick part here. Pay attention to it is a curvature form here. We don't make it a square like this because it's gonna sound weird with the bass line. Again, I am heavily sidechaining the bass now so you can hear it. See how it doesn't sound right. It sounds like it's hacky. It's not synchronized somehow. This is the worst case scenario. It doesn't match the genre or anything, but if we just make it a little bit smoother here like this, we're gonna let the bass line sneak up. You're gonna hear that it doesn't sound as bad compared to just the brick, as I told you before. See how the bass line is just suddenly popping up, and if we do it short, we let it sneak up here. So it like you blend them together. And if you have a phase issue, you can, between the bass line and the kick, you can just use this thing here. So you can just change the phase of the whole sub kick here. So that's how you can tweak the sub kick to match your bass line and the whole track itself. Now over to the top kick. So I'm gonna show you how to make it later on, but I'm just gonna show you how it looks here. So this is the top kick. So you have the amplitude. I just scoop it out. If you remember, if we looked at the sub kick part, I actually scooped out the beginning because I thought that the kick sound doesn't sound good. It sounds synthetic if you keep the 1 kilohertz thing on the sub kick like this. So I removed that first part there and replace it with the top kick that sounds like this. So you can see here, I actually made so you can, I don't want it to interfere with the sub kick here. You see there's a top there, so you can actually adjust the amplitude here of that sample. So it becomes like that. Now, over to the click itself, we actually pitch shift it. You can see it as you just pitching the sample a bit, and you can tune that click sound. I'm gonna show you how it sounds. So this is something I thought sounds good, but you can play around with it. Maybe you want a little high frequency. So that's how you can tune the top kick or the click sound to match the kick. You just have to use your ears. I don't have a recipe for that. So yeah, that's something you can do. Now, how do you make such a click sound? So you take some sample that you like, something that hitting. I recorded myself hitting on the table, and then you just are gonna. Okay, let's take this sample. Hopefully it will. If you are in FL Studio, you can use this pogo function here and just drag it down here. You press there on the pre-computed effects here. And then you pitch it up like 3 octaves or 2 octaves, like this. And you have it. That's the main part. There you go. And then you tweak it a little bit like, whoa, like this. Then you make it, maybe you're making it shorter like this. There we go. Yeah, so that's how you do it. And if you're wondering what the pogo effect is, let's delete that. It's basically you're taking the pitch, but it goes down quickly, like this. So it's an aggressive pitch down like this. And then you export that, and then you pitch the whole thing up afterwards. But I am in FL Studio, so we have this built-in function with the pogo thing, so I don't have to do this. But if you use another DAW that doesn't have this, yeah, that's how you do it. You just take an automation clip and just pitch it down quickly, like 4 to 3 octaves, and then you pitch it up another octave again afterwards. I hope this video was helpful. Again, there's a link in the description for the preset I made and the 1 click sample that you can play around with. I recorded it myself. It's royalty free. Feel free to use it for commercial projects. So yeah, thank you for watching.